How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Before we can begin this video, I need to talk to you quickly about a sponsor of this video. Ekster got in touch with me and sent me this absolutely stunning wallet, which I think is really nice. The key reason why this wallet has taken over from my normal wallet is the fact that it's tech enabled. I absolutely love tech, and just watch this. Let's say I've lost my wallet, just have it here for a second. I can go on a little app and I can basically ring to find it, which is pretty sick, and track it with the GPS, which is really cool. If you want to get one of these of your own, link is in the description down below. They've also done a cracking deal, and if you put in the code Johnny20, you get 20% off as well, which I think is an absolute win-win. On a personal note, I'm really into accessories and all that good stuff, so this has made a perfect addition to that accessories collection. Thank you very much to Ekster. But anyway, in this video I'm going to talk you through 5 super cheap cars for young driving enthusiasts. They're cheap to buy and insure, but also they have a bit of a fan base behind them, and they're the kind of cars that you might actually want to drive, either because they're quick or because they have some kind of history and future to them. If you want to know what details I put in to get these cheap quotes, have a look at one of my previous videos that helps you get super cheap insurance on your first car or even subsequent cars. Honestly, it really does help. Related to this video, topic of the week, should you have a fast first car? Is it a good idea? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget, I'm in the UK, so prices in other countries may differ, and remember that whenever you're buying a second-hand car, maintenance, repairs, insurance, all that good stuff is really important to remember, but I'll touch them in this video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we get into the top 5, let's talk about a bonus car very quickly, the Mark 1 Mazda MX-5 or Miata in the US, specifically with the 1.6 litre inline-4 engine putting out 115 brake horsepower and doing 0 to 60 in around 9.1 seconds. Now, I've spoken at length about the MX-5 in other videos, not to mention the fact that I literally just bought one with the 1.8 litre engine, so I've got plenty of content on the car if you want to learn more, hence it's just a bonus car in this video. But from a basic perspective, this car is renowned for its absolutely excellent handling and for generally putting a smile on the face of the person who owns it. You can pick up one of these for as little as £700 to £1,000 and get one in solid condition for around £3,000. I bought mine with a couple of issues for £1,000, so cheap is possible. For a 17-year-old, I was able to get an insurance quote of £1,912 for the MX-5, which is still quite hefty, but not that bad when you compare it with the average price 17-year-olds are paying for first cars. And at least with the MX-5, you get an amazing little car for your money. Anyway, less gushing over the MX-5, more getting on with the list. Just know that if you're 17 and own one of these, you will be having fun. On to the top 5 now, and in 5th we have one of my personal favourite cars on this list, the VW Lupo GTI. It hosts a 1.6 litre inline-4 engine putting out 123 brake horsepower, taking it from 0 to 60 in 8 seconds. But what makes this little car so special, particularly among young enthusiasts, is how rare and sought after it is. As of the middle of 2019, there are just 564 of these on the roads in the UK, with a further 248 of them sawned, meaning practically 1/3 of the cars are being kept off the road. That could be for any number of reasons, but I would hazard a guess at being related to this car's potential value longer term, so people are garaging them as a bit of an investment. That would be because this car has been labelled the real successor to the Mark 1 Golf GTI and has a sizable fan base behind it. It features dual central exhaust exits and some cool features including bi-xenon headlights and 15-inch Bathurst alloys. If you get one from 2002 onwards, you'll also get a 6-speed gearbox. I'm a big fan of this car, and I would say it's highly undervalued. You'll get one for as little as £2,500 with high mileage, but prices tend to be between that and £4,000 for ones with lower mileage. Considering it was £12,500 when new, you're doing well. It's basically an older version of the Up GTI. I was able to get a quote of £1,903 for this little beast, which is much more expensive than the other cars on this list, but from an enthusiast perspective, I really think this is a great buy even for the longer term, so I would suggest it's still worth an extra few £100. In terms of reliability, owners mention the car is really well built. Points to look out for include the engine burning oil, the thermostat, coil packs causing misfires, anti-roll bar bushes, and the potential for rust in the roof. Also, both the 5 and 6 speed boxes appear okay, but the 6-speed is renowned for greater longevity. I do really like this car. It's like a cooler and way more valuable version of my Polo, and if the order in this video is based on my personal bias, I'd probably put it at number 1. Taking fourth, we have the Brabus Roadster, the other of my personal favourite cars on this list. Of course, it's actually a smart car, which for some would be a major negative, but for those looking for a community of like-minded enthusiasts, Smart has a huge selection of forums and friends for you to take advantage of. It hosts a 0.7 litre turbocharged inline-3 engine putting out 101 brake horsepower and managing 0 to 60 in a pretty average 9.5 seconds, mostly due to it having, in my opinion, one of the most disappointing gearboxes available. That automatic gearbox isn't super unreliable or anything, in fact it's actually quite intelligent, but it changes gears so slowly even when it's using the paddles, so you lose all your revs and can't enjoy the car to its full potential, or at least in my opinion. The Mercedes tuning company Brabus took the original Smart Roadster and upgraded it with a different twin sports exhaust, lower suspension, polished 6-spoke aluminium alloy monoblock wheels, front spoiler, side skirts and radiator grille. For the interior, Brabus gave the car leather seats, a leather trimmed dashboard, alloy effect accent parts, instrument graphics, leather and aluminium gear knobs depending on what you went for, as well as a Brabus labelled starter button, aluminium handbrake handle, aluminium pedals and Brabus labelled floor mats. You are very much made aware of the fact that you are driving a Brabus. You can pick one of these up with high miles for as little as £3,000, but prices go up to around about £5,500 with 70-ish thousand miles, so more expensive than the other cars on this list, but you are getting a slightly more premium package, as well as a rare car, given the fact that there's only around 500 of these on the roads in the UK too. The quote I got for this was just £1,662, which is quite reasonable for a Brabus tuned car at 17 years old as well. When it comes to reliability, the turbo is known to have issues, so watch out for this when buying. Rust is also an issue, so if you own one, do cover it for your own benefit. Even those nice alloys are known to rust if they lose their lacquer. Ideally you should get one with service rear drum brakes too, as those are known to have issues, and trust me, you don't want brake issues. Another great car, a shame about the gearbox, but super cool for 17-year-olds to be running around in. On to the top 3 now, and in third we have the Fiat Panda 100 HP, which hosts a tuned version of the 1.4 litre inline-4 engine from the Fiat Punto, putting out 99 brake horsepower, despite being called the 100 HP because that actually just refers to PS, and managing 0 to 60 in 9.2 seconds. It's the newest car on this list, and was released in 2006, which means it hosts some slightly more modern and more comfortable features than some of the other cars. It also hosts a 6-speed manual transmission, 4-wheel disc brakes, tinted windows, sport style on the front and rear bumpers, and a sport suspension setup with modified springs, dampers, bushes and compliance, giving a much stiffer ride overall. Some would say maybe too stiff. You could also get a Pandemonium pack version which includes red calipers as well as some decals and colour-coded wing mirrors. In reviews by motoring journalists, the car is very highly regarded as a super fun little car. The extensive fan base for it actually seems really well deserved. £1,500 will get you one of these with around 90,000 miles on the clock, and for double that you'll be looking at under 60k. Not bad for a car that you can also insure for just £1,177 at 17 years old, which is getting into the realm of some of the super cheap to insure cars I mentioned in my previous video. Clearly my newfound strategy for getting cheap insurance is onto something. Coolant, oil and timing belts should be checked, and the electric power steering has been known to fail, but funnily enough for a Fiat, the reliability seems pretty solid from what I can find online. A quick and cool little first car with exceptionally cheap insurance, great for the 17-year-old enthusiast. Narrowly missing out on the top spot we have the Toyota Yaris T Sport, which has been hugely requested in my previous videos. It hosts a 1.5 litre inline-4 that has variable valve timing, putting out 103 brake horsepower and taking it from 0 to 60 in 8.7 seconds. Though it's named the Yaris T Sport in Europe, in Asia it was actually named the Vitz RS, and I do feel like RS does sound cooler, but that is just my opinion, so feel free to disregard. Compared with the standard car, it has sportier front and rear bumpers, a mesh grille, black tinted headlamps, front fog lamps, side skirts and alloy wheels. On the interior it has sports oriented front seats, a leather wrapped steering wheel, a leather and chrome gear shifter and metallic door sill scuff plates. That's decently sporty for a 17-year-old's first car. Mainly for the Japanese market, a Toyota racing development version was also offered, with a turbocharger and 148 brake horsepower, which I wish we'd seen here in the UK. As with the other cars on this list, it has a good fan base, so you won't be short of friends to attend car meets and anorak over your cars with, but it also has very very decent reviews from journalists and motoring specialists alike, though not quite as shining as the Panda I mentioned previously. On top of all that, the insurance is stunning, as I got just £1,169 for a 17-year-old, not bad at all. I paid about that much for just half a year on my Skoda 1.2. The car's cheap too, as you can pick one up for under £1,000 with high miles, while most are listed at around the £1,500 mark with 90k on the clock. The key benefit of buying a T Sport is the reliability. Owners forums are full of people asking about common problems, and owners replying about how the car will go for 200,000 miles with next to no issues. The only thing I could really find was clicking from the front drop links. So that reliability makes this a very enticing car for a 17-year-old, as well as that super cheap insurance quote. Taking the top spot in this video, we have the Ford SportKa, which hosts a 1.6 litre inline-4 engine with 94 brake horsepower and a 0 to 60 of 9.7 seconds. Let's get right down to the reason why this is number one. I got an insurance quote for a 17-year-old at just £1,093 per year, which is just £2 more expensive than the car that took the top spot in my last video on far more boring first cars. And that car was a 1.2 litre 55 brake horsepower car. Nothing like this. It may not seem it, but the SportKa has the potential to become a modern classic. The SportKa also came as a convertible, the street car, which was actually designed by Pininfarina after the concept was designed by Ghia. For those that aren't aware, those are two very well respected design houses for cars. Pretty cool to be owning a Pininfarina designed car as your first. Although at the same time, the street car was launched by Kylie Minogue at the Paris Motor Show, so take from that what you will. Sport cars have some serious potential, and people love them as the Ford equivalent of the Lupo GTI to some extent. As the Lupo GTI is the baby brother of the Golf GTI, so the SportKa is the baby brother of the Focus RS, with the middle brother being the Fiesta ST of course. The SportKa was actually described in Ford's marketing campaign as the normal car's evil twin, denouncing the cuteness of the original car. I think that the SportKa actually looks pretty decent, and that's coming from someone who really isn't a fan of cars. I don't think you'd catch me in a street car, but each their own of course. But those that do go for one will get some pretty decent features, like the alloys, racing steering wheel from a Puma, and a few other Puma parts around the car. Just know that your passengers will be quite squashed. These sport cars are also cheap as anything. Less than £1,000 will likely get one in decent condition with not too many miles, as most of these cars have been used as city cars rather than motorway cruisers for obvious reasons. £1,500 will get you one in very good condition with no more than 60,000 miles on the clock. In terms of reliability, one point I need to note is rust. If you're making an investment in one, make sure it's checked, as this has plagued the sport car pretty heavily, particularly around the door sills and petrol cap. As I said, not exactly my ideal car, but for many this is a super cheap way into a quick first car with a bit of history to it and a potential future, so well worth the top spot on this list. So in this video I've run you through 5 cheap first cars that young enthusiasts can get into, drive around and really enjoy owning. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Again, a massive thank you to Ekster for this. Don't forget to use all the discount codes and click on the link in the description, all that good stuff. Again, a massive thank you to my patrons, which seem to just be growing and growing. You guys are absolute carnage. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. But as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.